rebuttal and a question. My rebuttal is in the Voices and Choices data, the big regional strategic visioning, strategic planning process, the weather came in the top 5 things that were assets of the region.
Assets.
Assets.
Wow.
There you go.
Assets, including winter.
Thank you.
My question is, the mayor and some folks from CASE and 700 other people convened a summit, Sustainable Cleveland 2019 summit in August that has continued on. Can you all give us your reflections on that?
It's the most important initiative, I think, because it talks about our position on the lake. It talks about our ability to sustain ourselves and our economy into the future. I think it's a critical conversation. The leadership shown by that convening needs to continue and needs to go regional. We need to get very serious about it. The Cleveland Foundation is serious about it. The wind power, there's a lot of folks now that are very activated around this. We have a commissioner of sustainability, if you will, and I think it's one of the best things that has happened.
And here's what I'd add to that. There's a deadline for it, and there's an end time, and there's a
Window.
There's a window. That's what, I mean, we all harumph again about all the things that we want to do. Nobody's putting anybody's feet to the fire. Nobody's holding a deadline. There's no urgency for anything. There's urgency to that. Here's what we need to do by here. Now, figure it out. You know, here's what we're going to do for this. Here's what we're going to do for that. Here's how we're going to manage jobs. Here's how we're going to manage relations. That's the type of leadership and the type of gusto that we need for something like that.
And sort of we need to kind of get the sparkle off of that, because it is, I think, because we have deadlines. This is something that we need to do, and it's not about patting ourselves on the back that we had this great 4-day forum and all, and aren't we forward-thinking people?
Congratulations.
We need to just start having things in our conversation. As an architect, we've been looking at sustainability for 2 decades now. And so when I hear all this, we're doing green things, and isn't that great? I'm buying a green outfit and driving a green car. It's a fad, and that fad is gonna go away and be replaced by something else. So the race is to get to the point where we're actually doing things, so that it doesn't matter by the time it's not cool to be green anymore. We're just naturally green, and it's just part of our vocabulary and the way we live.
I don't know if it's the critical issue for Northeast. I think it's one of the main issues. And I just as an outsider, I would say that I think we're missing a huge opportunity outside of blue technologies, because you never hear of blue in Northeast Ohio. And I will say this, I've been to Europe and I've been to Asia. We are so far behind in green technology, it's not even funny. And if you think Ohio's going to be a leader in that industry, and Cleveland too, you're smoking dope. It is not going to happen.
But we do have the manufacturing base here that can fulfill on that, whether we innovate it here or not.
We do not have that manufacturing base. It is gone. And people think we've got all this infrastructure. It's went south. It doesn't exist anymore. If you think you're actually going to build a propeller in Northeast Ohio in high volume, forget about it. It doesn't exist. You do have a multi-billion-dollar industry staring at you right on that lake. You could produce all the electricity you wanted in the world. You could do all sorts of very unique blue technologies, and we're going to miss that boat. And I've said this at the state level, I've said at the county level, I said at the city level, and everyone looks at me like I'm smoking dope, but I'm not, And I just say, listen, I think green industry is important, but I think if that's your key to get out of the economic problems we have, we're going to lose again.
Okay.
We're absolutely going to lose.
There's 2 different things that we can tack onto this, and Sue, I want to thank you for your question, because it's very important that we bring up the Sustainability Summit and what it can represent for today and tomorrow for the community. So 2 things, well actually there's 3. Number 1 is that the summit itself is a demonstration of the new kind of leadership that is going on here. And there are 700, 800 people that were there who are still doing work, and over the last 4 to 5 months the sound has gone down as these people have been working and churning and coming out, and it's about to pop right back up again, as I know, maybe even tomorrow there's going to be some announcements that come out. And so doing some sort of Power 100 about what's going on through that work of all of the action teams in the Sustainability Summit would be powerful. Number 2 is there's a difference between an end and a means. And I believe that if we really look at the sustainability movement, both from the actual deployment of technologies in businesses and the like, but also how it's working, and the process that people lead, act, and do through a sustainable lens is how we will find ways to uncover if it's blue or green whatever it is our technologies going forward, and a new way to build our culture and our governments alike. Third thing is, my new favorite word of the week is Zeitgeist. It's a German word, and it speaks to a mood or a sense among people that's going to create socio-cultural change. And I believe that right now, the sustainability movement is the zeitgeist that's going to allow us to tackle multiple challenges from both an environmental standpoint, an economic standpoint, and a human standpoint.
There's also another German word called Schadenfreude, and which is the pleasure others get from failure that we may produce. I'm not against the movement. I think it's exceptionally important. I just hope that we find that true north in that movement to the actual industries that are going to propel this region. That's all I'm saying.
And I think that that's a great topic, sustainability. But then it seems to be a very disconnect, because then we have really good ideas, but then the resources, maybe the capital, and then also the people. So my question is, how do we actually, in your estimate, I mean, how do we actually attract those type of, how do we attract the talent to Cleveland? Because, you know, some people who even work in the medical community would say that although we have the Cleveland Clinic and we have somewhat of a good medical infrastructure, it's still very difficult to attract the lawyers from New York, some of the scientists down in Austin, Texas, or Raleigh, Durham. So I guess my question is, like, how do you actually attract all of the necessary pieces that you need in order to bring that plan into fruition?
You do it by example. You do it by hiring not the guy that has the best resume, but the guy that's willing to roll up his sleeves and work at the hardest for you. You do it by having a fun work environment. You do it by making sure that people know when little things happen that are cool. You know, we had a just showing people what it's like and getting your company and yourself out there to show what it's like about life in Cleveland. You know, for me as a owner of a small company, that's the best I can do on some levels, is to just show people how cool it is to be here. And I've got friends that, or people that work for me that have friends that, you know, they see pictures of us all playing Rock Band on Fridays, or of Nerf wars that we have, you know, between the cubicles. And they love that, and that's the comments that we see. Sometimes that's the best thing to do, is just show people that, hey, we're here, we're having fun, we're getting our work done, and trying to help out too.
Yeah, I mean, you just do your job, you do your job well, and you have fun doing it. And whether you will attract the right people. It's not a matter of, you know, we need to have these lawyers from big cities because there's so much they're going to give us. Yeah, well, yeah. You know, they're going to give us this different perspective. We've got enough here. I mean, I have writers all over the place for City Prowl, and right now I'm focusing in on stories of Cleveland, and I'm like, here's the research I've done. Write me up my script. And they come back and they're like, my God, I didn't know this about the city. I didn't know, all these wonderful things that are happening. And these are people from California and, South Carolina, and they're like, hey, man, I might move here or move back here. So, as long as we're having fun, I've been looking at cities actually to expand City Prowl in. One of them is Atlanta, which is a great city, lots of fun stuff to do there. But in terms of an urban core, they've let their urban core go. They're all over the place, and it's very difficult at this point to do City Prowl about a city that has no passion in its urban core. And, it's amazing that's something within my business plan I did, and I'm like, well, I picked some interesting cities, but a lot of them are not kind of panning out to have like the flavor that Cleveland has, which, I'm delighted but amazed and a little frustrated. So,
well, it's time for us to wrap up, and I want to thank everyone on the panel for your time and your insight, and for the audience too. There's some great questions. And do I have to do the honor again of, this is great.
Number one, okay, Mike, it's a gong, not a bell.
Yeah.
And hit the damn thing. You hit the edge of it last time.
Will I take it then that we are adjourned?